अस्सलाम वालेकुम डियर व्यूवर्स, कैसे हैं आप लोग। उम्मीद करते हैं कि ठीक ठाक होंगे। जैसा कि आप जानते होंगे कि 28 मई 1998 को पाकिस्तान एटमी पावर बना, जब उन्होंने चागी के मकाम पर एटमी धमाके किए। और इससे पहले इंडिया ने एटमी धमाके किए, जिसके जवाब में पाकिस्तान की आवाम बहुत जल्द जवाब देना चाहती थी। और इसके जवाब में पाकिस्तान ने 28 मई 1998 को चागी के मकाम पर धमाके किए। इस वीडियो के अंदर हम ये देखेंगे कि डिफरेंट कंट्रीज़ लाइक इसराइल, इंडिया, सऊदी अरेबिया एंड रशिया, उनका क्या रिएक्शन था।
Tests in the Indian subcontinent let the nuclear genie out of the bottle.
We are having here two different issues. One is the ongoing conflict between India and Pakistan, and the other is the new generation of weaponry. By the way, there are other weapons which are also very, very dangerous, like the biological, chemical weapons as well. It's a fact, it's a bitter fact. It complicates the situation in each of the two countries, between the two of the countries in the region, and I would say worldwide. But to be realistic, I do not see there is any real chance to disarm them from the nuclear weapons.
Do you think there are any implications of what's happening in the Indian subcontinent to what might be going on here?
It will clearly introduce a race of arms all over the places. I don't know what the Iranians are going to do, and I don't know what will be the real policy of the Pakistanians. Until now, usually one nation didn't offer nuclear weapons to any other nation. I hope this will be the case with the Pakistanis as well. But it's a newly created situation, and we have to watch it very, very carefully.
Do you think, as my last question, do you think it's time that perhaps Israel signed the Non-Proliferation Treaty?
The problem of Israel is that, A, she never announced that she possesses a nuclear bomb. She says she will never introduce nuclear bombs to the Middle East. Israel has announced that she will not go for any test of this sort of weapons. Israel has signed a chemical agreement, naming not to use chemical weapons. And actually, if the Middle East will taste a real peace, then we can arrive again to a free Middle East from nuclear weapons and missiles. The problem is, in the Middle East we have three wild customers: the Iraqians, the Iranians, and the Libyans. And before you will get rid of the wildness, it will be extremely hard to introduce an altogether overall armament control or disarmament in the Middle East.
Черноморского процесса, наполнение его конкретными проектами и программами обещает стать важным этапом в наращивании всестороннего российско-французского.
They followed the same experiments conducted by India, but still the situation is very complicated. We regret very much that the capitals of these two countries haven't decided to hear attentively to all the messages sent to them from different countries. Dictated by both Russian and international experts. We still believe that the international activity in this area can bring about a constructive reaction from both sides, and they will understand the necessity of political negotiations about all the problems they are having in their bilateral relations.
Целью наших ядерных взрывов что нашей целью была мирная цель. в отличие в регионе и те заявления.
We expected Russia to express their regret and concern at our test, and this is what they have done. And we do not expect that Russia is going to apply any sanctions. In any case, there is no aid or much of a trade relationship between us and Russia.
Которое возникло в результате испытания ядерного оружия Индии.
And as I said earlier, Indian leaders started issuing new.
Thank you, Mr. Ambassador.
Thank you.
Well, I think we are back to square one, and we are back to square one with a lot of nuclear question marks floating in the sky, and that's not good either for us Indians today or for the generations of Indians to come.
All stupidity, they are going to the arms race just for nothing. These countries doesn't have food to eat and no electricity, no water. They are away from basic amenities and they are going for nuclear tests just for nothing and spending millions of rupees.
I would like to ask and know from the Honorable Minister, is the most important thing for the country, our country?
11 फरवरी 1997 को मिली और 12 फरवरी 1997
Supplementary.
With my background in diplomacy, I knew some instructions would be coming. Without getting any instructions from Pakistan, I approached the Royal Court, which was not proper because normally you have to go through the Foreign Ministry to get an appointment with the king, you know. But I took the initiative and directly contacted the court. The court said, Excellency, today is Thursday evening, tomorrow is Friday, it is off days, you know, weekend. And as we all knew, King Fahd was not in good health, so it will be difficult, you know, to receive you. I said, no, please convey my request. Let's see, you know, what is the answer. And it worked because after 1 hour or so, I received a message that His Majesty the King will receive you tomorrow. So this was unprecedented, an ailing king meeting an ambassador on a Friday when it is off, you know, holidays. So next day, with great fanfare, with escorts, etc., I was taken to the palace, which was a bit away from Jeddah, some other place on the coast. I was really stunned because it was all quiet. It was a holiday, no one except few people. And lo and behold, King of Saudi Arabia sitting there to receive Pakistani ambassador. His first words were, "Sorry, I cannot get up because of my knee problem." No, it was very gracious of him. I mean, no one expects the king to get up and receive, but the very fact that he said so touched me and elevated in my estimation, His Majesty King Fahd. By that time, I had received the briefing instructions, what I have to tell His Majesty. The king very patiently listened to me, and briefly he said, "Mr. Ambassador, we are against what you have done because we are members of Non-Proliferation Treaty. Pakistan is not, even now, which prevents proliferation of nuclear weapons. But we know why you have done it. That we understand. And that's why we will support you more than what you expect of us." So I was really so much touched by the depth of the friendly feelings, the brotherly feelings which Saudi Arabia exhibited at that time.
The United Nations Security Council met to condemn the nuclear tests carried out by both Pakistan and India and to urge both countries not to undertake further tests.
The Security Council strongly deplores the underground nuclear tests that Pakistan conducted on 28 May 1998, despite overwhelming international concern and calls for restraint.
The Council called on Pakistan and India to resolve their differences and end the nuclear threat in South Asia.
The Council reaffirms that the source of tension in South Asia should be reduced and eliminated only through peaceful dialogue and not by use of force or other military means.
Israel joined the chorus of criticism.
It will change the constellation of power here, and it will pose a very grave danger to the peace of the world.
Russia said it regretted moves by both Pakistan and India to use nuclear testing as a way of competing.
Just a necessity, a must for all the nations to do their best for making treaties like Non-Proliferation Treaty and the ban on all nuclear tests universal.
The permanent members of the UN Security Council will meet next week to debate further sanctions.